Hi everyone, I'm Christy Forsyth with Clarity by Christy. I am a soul therapist and an intuitive that connects with the angelic energy. This is your weekly reading where we talk all about what's going on in the weekly energy, what I'm feeling, what I'm connecting with, what messages I'm getting about the weekly energy so that you can make the most of this energy that we have available to us. So let me know how you guys are feeling in this energy. I always love to hear from you. What's been going on for you? How did you navigate all of those solar flares that we had last week? I had to make a special video last Wednesday about that because I just needed to acknowledge that. It was intense. It was a lot on our systems. And I feel like now we're in this process of integrating all of that. So can you feel yourself sort of integrating that? I feel myself coming back down to earth a little bit. It's not feeling as intense. I'm not feeling like I'm processing as much, although I also feel like there's a buildup, and I'm wondering if I'm feeling that full moon that's coming, because we do have a full moon in Sagittarius this week, and I feel like the buzz starting. I'm feeling like there's a buildup into this full moon, but I also wonder, are we going to be getting some more solar flares or something of that nature, because it's just like we're getting hit with a lot of energy. In a really good way. This is a really expansive energy. And I think that it is supporting us in continuing to expand our lives if we are allowing the process of that. It also feels like a really healing energy. When I was thinking about and connecting with this energy this week, I was recognizing and feeling how much I myself have healed, and was recognizing with the people that I work with. I do a service called Soul Therapy where I do the work with people, intuitively led life coaching. And I've noticed for so many of them as well, there's been this movement out of difficulty and into something else, right? It's almost like we stepped into new beginnings and we didn't even realize that we did. And certainly in some ways we do realize that, because I think a lot of people have been intentionally starting new beginnings. I've seen a lot of people starting new things and taking chances and learning new things and developing themselves and leaning into these new beginnings and allowing this process. But I also think that there have been new beginnings that we didn't necessarily even recognize, where it's like this realization that somehow, somewhere, we are finding ourselves more healed. We're finding ourselves on the other side of that thing, those things that almost destroyed us before, right? Where we're recognizing, wow, I'm not in that same place anymore. I've really grown through that. I have healed a lot, and I never feel like we're fully healed, right? We're always working on something within ourselves, but I also feel like there has been a significant level up within our healing if we've been doing that work on ourselves. So I'm curious, like, is there something in your life, or are there some things in your life where you feel like, you know what, I feel like I'm finally on the other side of that. And at one time in your life, that felt like it was going to destroy you. It felt like it was something that you could never get through, but here you are. And I think that we want to pat ourselves on the back for that. We want to acknowledge that, and we want to recognize how far we have come. I think that this is part of the new beginnings, because we had to release all of that in order to allow us to lean into new beginnings. Full moons are all about clearing and release. And I think that this is a big part of what we are letting go of with this full moon. And so if you don't feel like you're fully there yet, I would be really intentional with that and say, you know what, with this full moon, I let go of. And it might be your thoughts around a situation. You might be letting go of a person. You might be letting go of a situation that didn't go the way that you wanted it to go. But I think that there's a lot of opportunity to release that, to heal that here in this energy. So I would definitely take advantage of that. So I'm filming this on the 21st, and so we have on the 23rd that full moon in Sagittarius. And I like this full moon. I like the energy of this. I think that it might feel, again, I feel like my engine is revving up a little bit again with the energy. So I do feel like some things are happening with this full moon. But I think that it is going to be a bit of an energizing full moon. I think that it's going to be a bit of an inspiring full moon, a creative full moon. And I think that we're going to be called around this full moon. So we're already in this full moon energy, right? I always say like a couple of days before, maybe up to about 3 days afterwards. I think that what this full moon is shining a light on for us is where we're limiting ourselves. So where are we limiting ourselves, or where are we allowing other people to limit us? And so this is a very important question to be asking ourselves here this week. Where am I limiting myself, or where am I allowing other people to limit me? Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you on here. So asking ourselves that, because as we get the answer to that, then we become aware of the next part of this question, and that's, okay, so what do I need to do about this? Do I need to, if it's other people who are limiting me, is there a boundary that I need to set? If there is something that I am doing that is allowing myself to limit myself, what do I need to change? What do I need to do, right? I think a lot of habits that don't serve us, a lot of self-sabotage, I think a lot of that is going to be brought to the surface so that we can take a look at it and say, you know what, I don't want to do it this way anymore. And that's the beautiful thing about allowing all of this to be conscious, is that you can make conscious decisions. You can be aware of how you're approaching something and make changes to that. So paying attention to that. Where are you holding yourself back when, maybe it's because of fear, right? But where are you holding yourself back when you're feeling on a soul level that call to expand, to grow? Where are you feeling limited? You know, pay attention to where you don't feel free. That is going to give you some insights as to what you need to know about this. Paying attention to all of that. I feel like as we get closer to this full moon, you are going to feel like some buzzing in the body. I think it's going to be a very physical full moon, and so it might feel like you've had too much caffeine. You might feel anxious. I do think that maybe we're going to have some solar flares or some other energetic aspects that are going around that, because I just feel it coming. And so I think you're going to have a time around that where you're like, what's wrong with me? What's going on with me? Why do I feel so anxious? Or why does my body feel so weird? I feel like a lot of pressure in my sinuses and things like that. And some of this is like still that detox also from these solar flares that have brought more light into our bodies. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, by the way, I did a whole video on the solar flares and what they mean for us. So that'll help you to understand. It's the video before this. It'll help you to understand what I'm talking about. It's actually a really important video, so make sure that you catch it. And so I think that it's going to be very physical. And so you may want to just kind of make sure that you're grounding yourself more. You may want to make sure that you're taking care of yourself more. I feel like I'm saying this a lot, but we've been processing a lot of intense energy all the time. So you may want to do that. I like to use 7.83 hertz to help ground me. So it's a frequency. You can find videos on YouTube that play music that are at that frequency. You can find it wherever you can, get music from. You can find stuff like that. So that's one of the things I like to use. I also like to use oils that are made from trees, things like that help me to feel grounded, and certainly to get outside, to get my feet on the earth. That's a big one for me. So I definitely would focus on intentionally grounding around this full moon, but I also have tools up on my membership for you to navigate this, right? So I have an energy session that is basically like a guided meditation plus an energy session. So it's infused with an energy session to help balance, support, clear whatever is needing to be cleared from your energy field. So if you're somebody who's in my membership, make sure that you use that. If you're not, it's only $9.99 a month. Make sure you check it out. But I create stuff like that to help us to navigate these things that we have going on, and to help support you as we're going through this whole process of moving into new earth, moving into the ascension of the planet, which is beautiful, but it can be intense. So pay attention to those things that are coming up for you. Let this full moon also spark a sense of adventure within you. Let it show you where this adventure of your life is going next. I just got done with a session and we were just talking about how we can approach life more like it's a game. Because really this is all just an illusion. And when you start to just kind of have that mindset of, what do I need to do within the game in order to level up? It helps it, number one, to be more fun. Number two, to be less emotional for us. But number three, it helps us to navigate all of it more quickly because we are detaching from it a bit, and it's helping us to connect with certain insights. So maybe we need to detach a little bit and just kind of explore it from different perspectives and see where that is taking us. There's a call this week as well for us to be as flexible as possible, because as we are in this time of new beginnings and moving to the other side of some important healing that we've been doing for a long time, the words that I heard was to become an energetic contortionist, right? And I don't think that this is just this week. I think that this is Earth now. How can I continue to be flexible? How can I continue to work on being more flexible so that I'm being shown the bigger plan, the plan of the universe, God's plan, whatever that is for you, and letting ourselves be led. But that flexibility is going to be really, really key. This is not a great time to be digging our heels in and saying, no, I won't go. Letting yourself be led. I think that this energy is calling for us to be a little bit more social as well, to get out there a little bit more, connecting with people a little bit more again. And so if you're intuitively feeling that pull to do that, I would do that, right? This is a great time to get together with friends who make you laugh, who help you to see things from lighter perspectives, that kind of stuff. Like, let it all be fun, because some of this stuff can be so intense as we're integrating all of these energies that we have been receiving. So let the process unfold, right? But what have you healed? I would be curious. Like, are you guys noticing what I'm talking about when I say that you're finding yourself on the other side of that thing that almost destroyed you? Are you noticing that? Like, wow, that doesn't hit the same way. That doesn't impact me the same way. I have a new perspective on that. I don't have the emotions around that I once did. And that's because of you. You did that work. You allowed that work. I think that we shifted timelines, and I think that we left some things in the past that belong in the past. Let it stay in the past. And if you are fighting it, because some of us are stubborn, I'm including myself in that list. If you are fighting it, let it go, right? Let yourself be flexible. Let yourself see what wants to come in for you in this next chapter of things. And meanwhile, let yourself be led in terms of how you've been limiting yourself, how you've been allowing other people to limit you. That is your job this week. That is the action, to identify how you are limiting yourself, or how you have been. Maybe that's like the thing that you're moving to the other side of, right? Maybe you almost destroyed yourself. Wow. That that gave me goosebumps. What if the thing that you almost destroyed was yourself? And are you willing to fight to bring yourself into a better time, a lighter time, an easier time? Because it's available to us now. We have to keep choosing ease as much as we possibly can. And that's not as easy as it seems, right? That can be definitely difficult for sure. But we are moving to the other side of that thing that almost destroyed us. And maybe that's some of the ways that we've been limiting ourselves, right? Is by putting ourselves through things that we knew weren't good for us. And it's time. Whatever you want to let it go with the full moon. Make a list. This is what I release with the full moon. And then safely burn that list. It's a fire moon. I like to use fire with it. Yeah. I'm going to try, I've got some allergies today, so I'm going to try not to cough my way through this, but I feel the energy flowing through me, so bear with me. 10 of Pentacles. Letting it be easy. Letting ourselves allow the blessings that are wanting to come through and not fighting with them anymore. Recognizing that we are creating a life that we're excited about, that we can be excited about, that we, sorry, I'm so sick of this cough, that we want to be excited about. And recognizing where we are limiting ourselves that is preventing the 10 of Pentacles. Where are you holding yourself back from having everything that you want? Because you're afraid? Because other people told you that you couldn't do it? Because you haven't been taking the actions that you need to take? What is it? Because you haven't let yourself be in flow, whatever that is for you. Where have you been holding yourself back? And then to follow up with that, what do you need to do about it? Knight of Pentacles. Sorry, guys. What do you need to do about it? Where do you need to take some actions that you have been thinking about, right? These are actions that you've been taking your time thinking about. These are actions that you've been like, maybe I should do this. Sometimes the Knight of Pentacles sits on something a little too long, right? Where it's like, oh, I'm thinking about it, but I'm not taking action. And I think that we're being called to take action. Maybe we've allowed ourselves to get a little too caught up in some things that don't serve us. And now it's time to come back. It's time to refocus and to take some actions on some things. I have felt like with those solar flares, focus has been a real challenge for me. And so for me, I feel like part of how I've been limiting myself is I've just been like caught up in a little bit of a dream world. And it's like, okay, but it's time to come back to making sure that I'm taking care of the things that need to be taken care of and making sure that I'm managing my time, right? Where do you need to manage your time? Where do you need to take some actions? Where are you like just tired of your own bullshit? And it's like, okay, like I've got to be done with that. What does that look like for you? That's going to support your expansion, that's going to support your moving forward. And are you in a place where you're ready to receive the rewards of the work that you've been putting in as well? Because sometimes this is an offer that's coming in. It's a solid offer coming in from outside of ourselves. But if we're limiting ourselves, if we're not open to the blessings that are wanting to come in, if we're too stubborn and stuck on what could have been, what should have been, or what we don't believe that we deserve, then we're not going to allow ourselves to receive it. So this is also about receiving. And I think that it's important to understand that we are limitless, right? And how can we become more limitless? How can we tap into our magic? How can we take action to move in the direction of where our soul is telling us that it needs to go? Because your soul is telling you where you need to go every step of the way. And then we build on this with the Ace of Pentacles. We're starting new things. This is new beginnings. This is a fresh start in some area. This can be, some new money coming in. This can be a fresh start with where you want to focus your time and your energy. But it's some kind of fresh start. It's some kind of a new beginning. But we have to be willing to allow it. We have to be willing to accept it. We have to be willing to let it. There's a lot of stability. These are 3 pentacles back to back. But I also, with this Ace of Pentacles, see this as a garden, right? What are you planting in your garden? And are you tending to those things that you have planted in your garden? Are you taking care of those things and allowing them to grow into something better? Are you allowing them to grow into, sometimes I see the 10 of Pentacles as the full-grown tree, right? But it doesn't just start from a seed and grow into a full-grown tree. It has to develop. It has to progress. And we have to tend to it. So now the call is, where do I need to tend to it? While also having a hell of a good time, right? I also think this energy is like, how do I live in service? How do I take the actions that I know that I need to be taking, while also enjoying this time that I have here on earth? Because it certainly isn't all about work either. It's also about enjoying it. we also have the Justice card, right? So it's like maybe part of the healing that we're doing is on the other side of some kind of justice being served. And so if you're waiting for justice to be served with something, you might just find it this week. And that might bring you some level of healing, or you might choose to let something come into balance, whether you see something happening or not, right? Whether you see somebody receiving that karma, whether you see something coming into balance, you're just choosing it yourself. You're just deciding, you know what, I'm going to move forward. I'm going to forgive this. I'm going to release this. I'm going to set myself free from this. And that's like the energy that I get with this Justice card is like us being set free from something. Whether we're choosing to set ourselves free through forgiveness or changes that we're making, whether we are having something happen that helps to support us in setting us free. Maybe it's a little bit of both, but there's definitely like a closing out of something that, again, at one point maybe almost destroyed us, really challenged us. We thought maybe we weren't going to make it to the other side. And I think this week we find ourselves either on the other side of that or very quickly moving in the direction of being on the other side. And we're rebuilding. We have a lot of pentacles. That's rebuilding. That is abundance. That is blessings. It's a really, really positive energy. We want to be mindful, 7 of Wands, to choose our battles. If it's important to you, if it's worth fighting for, then fight for it. Because I definitely think that fighting for something that matters here this week is going to serve us really well, right? Maybe you're fighting for a dream. Maybe you're fighting for something that you have been wanting for a long time. And this is just saying, keep going, right? Get back up is the energy that I get with this. But also, where do we need to let some stuff go, right? Where are we fighting battles like that we don't even really care about anymore? I was talking a month ago about stepping off the battlefield, and I think that we're still kind of learning how to do that, stepping off the battlefield. We don't have to engage in every battle that presents itself to us. Sometimes it's lighter. Sometimes it's better to just release it and to understand that everybody's on their own path and everybody's in their own learning. But when we choose to take things on, that's where it can become problematic. So is it a battle worth fighting? Is it not, right? Choosing your battles. And if it's not a battle worth fighting, let it go, right? That's not worth it. Focus on your growth, focus on your development, focus on your happiness and where it is that you want to be going. Because then we have the Wheel of Fortune. This is an important shift that's happening this week. I feel it. Important shit and an important shift, right? Like, this is good stuff. This is destiny stepping in. This is some things moving forward, these new beginnings that are happening, these things that are developing. Maybe this is simply you feeling like you're moving out of a really, really challenging time. And noticing that, wow, like it hasn't felt as bad as it used to. But I also feel like on the other side of this, there's new learning that's happening, there's expansion that's happening, there's a shift, and it feels different. I think I already feel this shift a little bit, but I think that we're going to feel this more as the week progresses, almost like with that full moon. It just brings a different energy on the other side of it. It's a luckier energy. It's an energy that's really allowing ourselves to become limitless, to lean into that limitless part of ourselves that has always been there, but we forget to tap into it. You are limitless, and you can create the beautiful things that you want to create here in this world, but you're co-creating it. So also work with God, also work with the universe, whatever you call that. Let God do their part, you do your part with the actions that you feel called to take. Let yourself be flexible in this energy. Let it flow. Just see where it's taking you. See what actions you're feeling called to take. See what changes you're feeling called to make, especially around where you're limiting yourself. But this is a really beautiful energy, a really beautiful time. It still feels incredibly lucky to me. I just feel like you're going to feel really supported in this energy moving forward, and a lot of important shifts that are happening here this week. So I'd love to hear about that. If you guys are watching this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe. If you haven't already, make sure you're not unsubscribing yourself, because I had a couple of unsubscribes, and I think it's people get confused and they unsubscribe themselves a lot of the time. So make sure that you are subscribed. Sometimes I notice that sometimes that gets lost too, and I've heard other creators on there talk about that, where that happens. But anyway, like this video, comment on this video, share this video, whatever you feel called to do, but it helps these messages to connect with the people that it needs to connect with. And so often I think that we're listening to this and we're thinking of people, right? That means that message is meant to go to that person. That means that person, there's something here in this message for that person. So make sure that you share that so that they can connect with these messages. I appreciate all of you. Thank you so much. I love you all, and I will see you soon with another video. Take care.